In 2014, a decent wedding cost about $28,000. Today, that same wedding, same guest count, same venue tier, same everything, runs closer to $54,000. And that's not even the expensive part. If you graduated college around 2014 and had a rough life plan, get married, buy a house, have a kid, you were looking at a total milestone price tag of roughly $260,000 over about a decade. Do that same plan today? You're north of $438,000. That's a $178,000 gap for the exact same life. I'm going to walk through every major milestone, show you exactly what changed, and by the end, you'll understand why 35 genuinely feels like the new 25. Not because millennials are lazy or behind, but because the math literally shifted under your feet. Let's start with the wedding. In 2014, the average American wedding cost $28,000 according to the Knott's annual survey. That included venue, catering, photography, the dress, the rings, the whole thing. Fast forward to 2024 and that number has ballooned to roughly $35,000 on the low end, but the more accurate median when you factor in the rehearsal dinner, the honeymoon, and all the hidden fees that venues now charge, you're at $54,000. Now here's what makes this especially cruel. Venues figured out that they can charge a wedding premium. The same banquet hall that rents for $4,000 on a Saturday for a corporate event charges $11,000 for a wedding. Same room, same chairs, same chicken or fish. Catering per plate went from roughly $68 in 2014 to over $110 today. Photography packages jumped from an average of $2,600 to $4,500, and those mandatory wedding planners that venues now require add another $3,000 to $5,000. Now, the big one, housing. In 2014, the median existing home price in the United States was roughly $208,000. With a 10% down payment and a then-current mortgage rate of about 4.1%, your monthly payment, including taxes and insurance, sat around $1,100 a month. Manageable on two moderate incomes. Today, the median home price is roughly $412,000. But that's only half the story. Mortgage rates are now hovering around 7%. So that same 10% down payment is bigger in dollar terms, and your monthly payment, again including taxes and insurance, lands somewhere around $2,800 to $3,000. Let me say that clearly. The same type of house nearly tripled in monthly cost. Not doubled, nearly tripled. Because it's not just the price of the house, it's the price of the money you borrow to buy the house. So where 2014 you were saving $20,000 for a down payment, today you need $41,000 minimum. And your ongoing monthly burden is almost $2,000 more. Over a 30-year mortgage, that difference alone accounts for roughly $360,000 in additional payments. Okay. The baby. In 2014, the average cost of having a baby, meaning prenatal care, delivery, and postnatal care, with insurance, ran about $3,000 to $4,000 out of pocket for a standard vaginal delivery. A C-section with complications could hit $8,000 to $10,000. By 2024, even with what counts as good employer-sponsored insurance, families are reporting out-of-pocket costs of $5,000 to $8,000 for a routine delivery and $12,000 to $15,000 if there are complications. But here's the part nobody talks about. Childcare. In 2014, the average cost of full-time infant daycare in the U.S. was roughly $9,600 per year. Today, that number is roughly $14,500 nationally, and in major metro areas like Boston, San Francisco, or New York, you're looking at $22,000 to $28,000 per year. That is more than in-state college tuition at most public universities. For a one-year-old. So let's add this all up and see why 35 is the new 25. If you're a millennial born around 1990, you turned 25 in 2015. The milestone math looked like this. A $28,000 wedding, a down payment and closing costs of roughly $25,000 on a median home, and your first year of baby costs, including delivery and daycare, at roughly $13,000. Total milestone price tag to do all three, about $66,000 in upfront and first-year costs. Now, let's say you're that same person, but you're hitting those milestones at 34, which is the current median age for all three in 2024. Your wedding is $54,000. Your down payment and closing costs on that median home are about $45,000. And your first year of baby costs, including delivery and daycare, roughly $22,000 on the conservative end. Total, $121,000, same person, same milestones. 83% more expensive, and this is why it feels like you're running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. Because you are. Your salary probably didn't go up 83% since 2014. The average millennial salary growth over that period was about 35 to 40%, so your income went up maybe 40%. But the cost of becoming a full-on adult with the classic 3 milestones went up 83%. That gap, between what you earn and what life costs, that's the inflation gap. And it's not a personal failure. It's structural. Now, there's a deeper layer here that matters. Some of you might be thinking, okay, but people in 2014 also had it hard. And yes, that's true. Every generation faces challenges, but the difference is the rate of change. From 2004 to 2014, the milestone cost increase was roughly 31%. From 2014 to 2024, it's roughly 83%. The speed of the cost escalation nearly tripled compared to the previous decade. That's why the whiplash feels so severe. Your older sibling who's 10 years ahead of you, they genuinely hit a different economy, even though it was only a decade ago. So what do you actually do with this information? First, stop blaming yourself. I mean that sincerely. The narrative that millennials are financially irresponsible is built on a comparison to a world that no longer exists. You're not behind. The finish line moved. Second, get creative about the order of operations. There is no law that says you have to do wedding, then house, then baby. Some of the most financially secure millennials I've seen are the ones who reordered these milestones based on what made sense for their local market and their personal situation. Maybe you have the baby in a rental and buy the house at 40. Maybe you skip the big wedding and roll that into a down payment. There's no wrong sequence if it's intentional. Third, and this is the uncomfortable one, have the money conversations earlier. Talk to your partner about what you can actually afford, not what Instagram says you should want. The average wedding in 1950 cost about $450 adjusted for inflation. That's roughly $5,000 in today's money. Somewhere along the way, we convinced an entire generation that spending $50,000 on one day is normal. It's not normal. It's a choice. And you can choose differently. The $178,000 inflation gap is real, the math is real, and your frustration is justified. But you still have agency. You can adapt the blueprint. You just need to know what you're actually working with. And now you do. If this was helpful, there's more on the channel. I'll see you in the next one.